everyone. I'm so excited to be here with Liz. Liz and I crossed paths a few times, and I would be speaking about the emotional side of infertility and giving strategies. And I'm going to blow our own horn, but I think we complemented each other so much because I think the financial stress of infertility or trying to create your family or being proactive about, fertility preservation is so important. But this umbrella that it falls under, the financial is such a heart heaviness to it.
It really is. And because when you think about it, you're right, it all comes in with the emotional or the scientific portion of it. And then how are you going to actually move forward? And that's the
Right.
finances. And it you don't realize that walking to the door of your first appointment, what the toll is really going to be.
And you're such a champion and a partner for people when it's like drinking from the fire hose. Like you arrive at the fertility clinic, and I remember I'm like, I don't think I heard anything because
Mm.
it gets just like you're drinking this water from this fire hose with high pressure on you, and having to be able to contact you, especially like you're just divinely in the right place because you have this calmness and you're like, I've seen it. We can solve it. It's just such an important like hand holding through this. So I know that you've been doing it for a long time and you're
Long
like,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
a long time, long time. And you've helped hundreds and hundreds of people. But I remember when I started my first IUI,
Mhm.
and my son's turning 27 next week.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks. Oh my God. So it's been a while, right? And I remember going to the pharmacy to pick up the medicine, I think it was Clomid and then the progesterone and like all the other stuff in between, and the insurance didn't cover it.
Mm.
And I remember standing there, I was supposed to take the injection at night and start blah, blah, blah. And he said it was like, I think it was over $2,000 back then. And I was like, what do I do? I have to pay the mortgage or I can start on this journey, to create a family. And I think people don't realize as a resource, there's someone like you who spearhead in the clinic that
Right.
you could say, "Oh my God, Liz."
Right. And that's the goal, right? We're hoping that you don't show up at the pharmacy and have this surprise. We should have that authorized for you in advance. Or we've talked to you about self-pay costs and not going to a CVS and going to a specialty pharmacy that gives discounted rates for patients in your situation. We want to make
Right.
sure you have that all in advance so do
Well,
not get in this
I don't
surprise.
even think there was a conversation back then about that. And
Right.
like that is such an important thing that you just said. There's a boutique pharmacy that only does, fertility drugs. So it's so important when you're building your family building team to approach it with like you have a financial guru. That's you, you know.
Right.
It
And
it
that's what it is. It's the team. It's a team effort. It's making sure not only that the patient is satisfied and knowledgeable about the medical aspect of it, but also knows where they're going on the financial end and how are they going to be able to afford this? What can we do to help them? Is there partnerships? Is there grants? Is there insurance coverage? Are they almost at an open enrollment? Is there anything we can do?
I love that because it's so stressful. Like you're
Mhm.
dropped in this foreign land trying to navigate through. So, with the climate of everything that's happening
Mhm.
with women's reproductive care, have you noticed that more women are seeking to freeze their eggs, or how is this affected? I know how it's affected my
Right.
private practice, but I kind of hear, but you're boots on the ground there.
Right. And I'm at Extend Fertility. So
Right,
the name is fertility preservation.
right.
That's what we try to do is to make sure patients have basically an insurance policy so that hopefully they never have to use the eggs that they freeze, but it's there for them when they're actually ready to get going and start their family.
Right. So
So
have you seen more women taking that step?
yes. Yes, we have a lot, and we're in Manhattan, so we
Right,
have a
right.
lot of women. And luckily, there's a lot of insurances that are out there now that are also advocating, that are fertility specific, like Progeny, Maven, Carrot. They're going to corporations and asking them, you should be giving this to your employees.
Please.
This is a benefit, and patient, well, I would say employees, prospective employees look at that when they're looking
Yes.
to take the job. Do you have infertility coverage? Do you have egg freezing coverage? It's it's a big thing now.
Well, I think it's because of that awareness. I
Yes.
mean, I think about it like you know, if I had that option, I probably would have gone that route,
Right.
than when I was younger because, you know, there women are strong
Right.
and in the workplace and, leaders in industries and to have that option, which has its own like little hiccup sometimes, but
Right.
to have that option is such a peacemaker.
And that's what it is. It really is that insurance. It's that in the back of your mind. I have, let's say, 25 eggs, and depending on the age that you froze them, that's two or three potential children
Yeah,
when you're ready to go. And hope, like I said, hopefully you don't need them, but they're there for you.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I know you and I talked a little bit about this before we popped on, but I've come out of the closet about helping women through divorce
Mhm.
and how, you know, reproductive wellness, reproductive rights, when you're a woman in any age, how is that? How are you finding women who are proceeding? Oh, I'm going to sneeze, sorry.
Bless you. Oh, bless you.
I mean, have you noticed like the demographic of women? You know, the clients that come to me who are kind of thinking about egg freezing are usually actually around 28, 29. And some people are coming around 34, which I'm like, okay,
You got to
that's a
get
great
going.
go get
Yeah.
going on this. But have you, maybe you could talk to the demographic and some of the things that people should be, no, having their awareness about
Um,
their
yeah.
insurance, their financial part of egg freezing.
So the thing that's not good right now, which is what we're hoping to change, is that a lot of states have mandates. I think there's like maybe 15 states that have mandates for
Right,
infertility, but those states, it's for infertility. And then
right,
for egg freezing preservation, that's usually for if you have a cancer diagnosis or some sort of diagnosis that would render you infertile if you were going to go forward with that treatment. So it's still largely self-pay
okay,
for anybody who is doing it for elective purposes. And of course, by the time you have money
right,
socked away to freeze your eggs, you're hitting that point we were talking about. It's like you got to get going because
right,
medically, um, the best time to freeze your eggs is in your early to late 20s when you're not
right,
really thinking about it usually. And yes, there's
right,
awareness, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I'm going to meet somebody. I'm not going to need this.
right.
So again, it goes back to that being an insurance policy. Um, that being said, freezing your eggs is wonderful for potential divorces or things like that. Then once you do have embryos created, if anything was to happen, those embryos are not just yours. They're your ex-partner's, and there's litigation, and
Right.
there's what are you going to do with these embryos? And most of the time they're discarded
I
because a
know.
new partner is not going to want
Gonna
to use an
want
embryo that has your ex's DNA,
DNA.
right?
Yeah,
So
right,
that's when I say like egg freezing is an insurance policy. It's an insurance policy for somebody who's young that's wanting to get pregnant later, or if there is potential discord in the marriage, you have
right,
those eggs already frozen that if you did want to try later, you
right,
have that there.
right. Oh my goodness. It's such a it's such a blessing to have that, but it also it's almost like you need a flow chart. Like
Right.
what is the way? I'm just curious, and you can let me know if you have a diagnosis of like PCOS or endometriosis, is that considered
Depends on how severe it is.
okay?
So, because now we're getting to the medical side, because PCOS is not usually an indication to go right into IVF. That a lot of time is an ovulatory disorder where you're not ovulating every month. And so
Right.
then you start with the Clomid to do
Right.
IUI cycles versus IVF.
Okay. I
Yeah,
was just I thank you for answering that because I have, my clients have PCOS and
right,
endometriosis, and that is a fear. Like, should I be freezing my eggs because
right.
of, you know, the
Well, you
the
remember insurances want to get you pregnant now. So again, there's no mandate for egg freezing unless you have a diagnosis that will render you infertile. So a severe endometriosis could, because you
right,
may have to have surgery, things like that. Um, but if it's just they want you to have one child too. So if we're freezing eggs because you potentially want to have two or three children in the future, they may come back and say, you have frozen eggs. You got to create them all as embryos and you've got to use them because we're looking to get you pregnant one time and we don't want to pay more than we have to. So it really is. They dictate care. It really is it's like they dictate care. And then that's when the appeals come in
come
and the
in.
doctors have to do their peer-to-peers and we're advocating for you. But in the end of the day, they kind of have the final say. So that's where the progenies and the mavens and I'm not trying to like tout them,
No,
but
no.
they're set up for patients and they actually know the clinical, so like it's not a set in stone, everybody's different, and they're
Right,
willing to work with them on that. And that comes from the employers too. There's employers that they're the ones that pick those companies and provide those benefits.
right,
So it's getting that advocacy to not only insurance companies, but to your employers.
right.
Yeah.
I love that you are so like passionate. You have such a caring heart about this. This is like my eyes get glossed over
Yeah.
because like I'm like the other way, like emotionally, how are we going to get through this and what can we do spiritually and mentally and the financial piece like that's why I was so excited when you agreed to do this because just what you rattled off, you think that that's just common for you, but it's not for everybody else,
No, yeah.
like who would know that? Like who would know all that
Somebody who's been
well?
in the field for almost 18 years. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So,
So what let's just try to bring some, grounding and
okay.
security to someone. So if someone comes to you, Liz,
Mhm.
for their first cycle,
Yep.
what would they expect or what would they have to bring or how can we make them feel more prepared or not in control, but you feel so uncertain going through this process. So
Right.
the more certainty we could provide, that would be wonderful.
And so one of the things that we do at Extend is we make sure we have what's called a new patient consult, not only for the clinical side. So they meet with fertility advisors to review their next steps clinically, but they also meet with either in person or if they're telehealth with a phone call the next day with a financial counselor who will follow them through their journey. They become part of their care team.
I love
And
that.
that's really what it's about. It's education. This is what your insurance coverage is. They don't cover elective egg freezing. However, we work with these companies. There's this grants. Oh, we did see in the note in one of your doctor notes that you do have this because we make sure that the patient has their visit first so we can review the notes from the doctors because if there's anything we can pick up on like
Right,
severe endometriosis that may be able to use as a diagnosis for fertility preservation and then we bring that to the insurance and do a pre-certification and fight for it. If they're denied,
right.
we do the peer-to-peer. If that's denied, we do the next level. And again, there's I don't want to get too technical, but there's the self-insured companies and then there's the fully insured. The fully insured follow the mandate. The self-insured is actually covered by the employer. So there's two different appeal processes.
Right,
We would advocate if you're a self-insured, go to your employer. It may be embarrassing, but you may be saving yourself $50,000 if you have to do
right,
multiple cycles. Because they may
right.
come back and say, I don't care what her diagnosis is. I want her to be able to freeze her eggs.
That's that's so powerful because, if you're coming there and not even knowing that you
Mhm.
could go to yourself, insured person or employer and ask and change the policy throughout the whole company.
Right. And that really is what it is. It's advocating for yourself. It's advocating for your colleagues.
Right.
You may not even know are going through the same thing you are.
Right, right. Because like, that saying, like if one person asks the question, there's probably eight people in the room that wanted to ask that same question, so it's amazing. Um, I know you've been doing this forever. Maybe you could just share one case study, like one hopeful one that you were like, yes, we brought this over the finish line and it was, such a success for everyone.
So I can actually share probably two.
Okay.
One, not everything is lost, right? And this is not going back to this one's going back to infertility.
Okay.
They had with Massachusetts, there's a mandate, which is great, and that's where I met you because we were in Massachusetts
Yes.
together. There's an infertility mandate, and there's an unspoken cycle limit in Massachusetts. So even though the mandate says there's no limitation on the number of cycles, the statistics that the insurance companies bring state that if you have more than 6 egg retrievals with no live birth, your chance of success drops below 5%. And that is their threat. That's the mandate. You have to have more than 5% chance of success for them to provide coverage. So here's a patient, did 6 cycles, did not get pregnant, got denied, went through, did her peer-to-peer, did her appeal, paid for the cycle, had a live birth, was able to take that, bring it to the insurance company, get all of her money back
Wow.
because she saved that appeal for that reason. And then she got 6 more cycles after that because she now disproved
The
the 5%
standing.
chance of success, right?
Right. Wow. I
Yeah.
love that. I forgot about that because I was rapidly taking notes when you were speaking, and I do refer to them, but I forgot about bringing back to the insurance
Mhm.
when you have a live birth.
Right. Yeah, because you've just disproven them. So now you have that. And that's what it is. It's statistics against statistics. The insurance company statistics say this, and they use that to deny, deny, deny. And then we're trying to bring our statistics to prove otherwise. So the same vein, Massachusetts, you may have heard a Cloma challenge test. That's that outdated
Right. It's
ovarian reserve
awful.
test that nobody else uses because
That's
it's just in a
awful.
Massachusetts insurance company thing.
That's terrible thing. Sorry.
And
Sorry, I don't mean it's not that bad. I don't want to be saying that, but go ahead.
and basically again, it's their black and white. If your FSH is higher than this amount, then that means that your chance of success drops. And I had a patient who did a Cloma challenge test and failed it by 0.5. And she had to appeal and appeal and appeal. And we won that one because we were able to state that, we were able to show our statistics and had studies that showed that, first of all, Cloma challenge tests mean nothing.
Nothing.
You
Right.
need to go, and her AMH was beautiful.
Yes.
So we were able to
Yes.
use the AMH.
You know
So,
what is so detrimental for that one test
mhm.
is that sets you up to feeling like you're never going to get pregnant.
Not only that, it follows you everywhere.
Everywhere.
You can have beautiful ones 6 times, and then that
Yes.
one they deny.
Yes.
They don't care what it is after that. So,
No, they denied me also.
oh,
Yeah. It was like, what do you mean? Like, come on
right.
here. And then I ended up, of course, having two children.
Well,
You know,
there you
so
go. It's
yeah, it's like
so,
that one moment. It's like a selfie of you.
right. Yeah.
That test is just a selfie
Yeah.
for that 1 minute, for that one moment, and it's not who you are. That's what I say to my clients. We're not gonna take that in. We're not gonna carry that with us because literally it's a selfie of you. And
Well,
who
and like you
knows?
said, it's an outdated test that
Yes,
the insurance companies in a mandated state, mind you,
yes,
it's one of the best mandated states.
yes,
Like the mandate is one of the most comprehensive mandates, but they use that as a loophole, and that's what insurances do. They're now told they have to do this,
right.
but now they're going to look for any way they can to not cover you.
Cover you.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. No, those are such heartwarming. Like I always look for that light of hope.
Mhm.
And just see, you don't even know, just talking about the Clomid challenge, like that's so stressful for
It
women.
really is. And that one is not just a blood test. You're taking medication. You have to
Patient,
go in a couple of times, two blood tests because you have to pass the first one and then you have to pass the second
second.
one. It's a month. And it's a month of wasted ability to try to conceive because you're
Right.
doing this test.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's unnecessary stress.
Hmm.
But look at you. You're just the rock star. Are. You're just like you're like I can see it and when you're thinking of it. Like it's just like, okay, this, and this. Like that you must be so good at puzzles because like I could see you like solving it. Boom, 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 boom. And
Oh, yes.
you've done that for so many people that I know. And I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. And of course, back at you, Kristen.
Thank you, honey. So let's talk about if people wanted to talk to you, Liz.
Mhm.
They can find you at Extend.
Extend fertility, yes.
Yes, and I'll have all that information under all these videos and shorts and clips and everything. Is there one last, topic we should just briefly touch on? Or I think you're writing the changes, and that's why I think it's so important to talk about. Like there is an ugly side of change, but when you build your team, like
Right.
you're writing the changes now. So is there anything that we should be aware of that we don't know we should be aware of? Or
Well, I think specifically for fertility preservation, and I'm going to bring Massachusetts up again just
I
because
love it.
they
Go ahead.
are a little more progressive in some of their things. So the way some other mandates affect the infertility mandate because of the transgender mandate in Massachusetts, it affected the mandate for infertility for egg freezing. So
Okay.
now, if you have anybody that is transitioning, they're automatically covered for egg freezing prior to their um, transition. The same thing with male to female, their sperm freezing is also covered because they'll be undergoing transition as well. So those little loopholes, if we could apply that across
Yes.
to multiple states and
Right.
see where we can get with that and kind of hit it at two ends, it would be
Right.
fantastic. Plus getting more states. I know that there's there's always advocacy there for more state mandates. So.
It's it's so astonishing to me. Like we've made a lot of progress,
Mhm.
but being in this fertility industry is for as long as we have been, the needle moves, but it's moving slowly. It's
Well,
just
I think another great thing is that for a long time, federal employees, so again, not state, federal employees, they didn't have coverage. They only had coverage up to diagnosis and then no treatment coverage. And that changed. And now federally, they get $25,000 a year. So it's not a max that just
right,
stops. They get
right.
$25,000 a year for treatment, with a separate med max, which means
Okay.
that you're not eating into, because meds sometimes it can be even more
What?
expensive than the cycles
Right,
themselves when they go through insurance.
right.
So so we're trending
That's
in the
huge.
right direction. It's
That's
huge.
huge because
It's
how
huge.
many people? I've spoken to or, worked with that were in the military that it was like
Exactly.
incredulous. Like, how
Right?
is this not
They
even
had,
included?
yeah, they had to have before this, they had to have an injury that caused them to be infertile to get coverage. So you had to serve your country, get injured, and then they
Right.
would give you coverage. So this is great now that it's in advance. Um, so
That's
you don't
that.
have to have something bad happen to be able
Right,
to,
right.
right?
I love that little, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
I don't know how come I didn't know that, but I didn't know that one. I so appreciate you, Liz.
Of course.
Oh, so thank you so much. This has been so helpful and comforting and your calm presence is I'm sure people will reach out to you to help them with all of
Well,
this.
of
Thank you.
course. And yeah, I mean, I'm in New York, but my practice is in New York, but I do know of other mandates in other states. So,
You have the connections, girl. You have that Rolodex we all love, you just make it happen. And I so
try to
appreciate you.
appreciate you too, Kristen. Thank you.
Bye, honey.
Bye.